Oh, Majin clap back. Uh-oh. Here we go. What is going on, kids? We are back. You already know what I'm about to tell you right now. Support your boy. Alright, so look. We had a big discussion, man. It's been a big discussion, man. Is Strive a bad game? Is it dead? Is it good? You already know. There's a lot of controversial stuff going on. The problems with Strive and things like that. But, you know, we had our thoughts on it. And I definitely talked about it. And I definitely talked about the little things that we need to make the game last for the longevity of the game. If you guys remember in my old video, I definitely talked about the things that can affect the game long term. If you watch the video and you see the clip, you could tell that I knew this was going to happen. But I didn't expect it to be as fast as a month. I thought maybe 6 months, 3 months, whatever. But we're about to talk about how I feel about this. And before we jump into it, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and let me know how you guys feel about the video. And are you enjoying Guilty Gear Strive? Because I know who's enjoying Guilty Gear Strive. Let's jump into it. Honestly, I have no problem with the Sonic said the reason it doesn't make what they said doesn't make sense to me since they played most MK other NRS games. You know, that's another good point too. But let's talk about a little bit more that it's like middle ground. I did say that if you guys watch my YouTube, I did say that this game longevity wise has some issues. Yes, Mad Hatter's knows. See, Mad Hatter's knows. But I told myself I'm gonna give it a year because I know, I confidently know just by playing the game that they rushed it and it's unfinished, and I don't want to make a full review on an unfinished product on a competitive standpoint. You know, even though it's a sick game for me, I do think there's some issues that it's like really, really obnoxious. But again, I said I'm gonna give this game a year. I always said, I'm like, you know, this is weird. I'm not a big fan of this. This is really, it's really like not enjoyable in like 5 months. I mean, I'm surprised it came faster than what it was. But I did say that eventually people are going to like get burnt out because of just how it is. Like honestly, like Sonic, they tweeting that out. Like I respect the fact that they literally was honest. They was honest about it, you know? And I already knew this was going to happen. Even then, what I don't like is I don't like the fact that people are just piggybacking. That's the real problem. The problem is not the person liking it. The problem is the piggybacking. That's the biggest issue. They're looking at the person who started all of this, which they didn't start anything. They just said how they felt. And everybody else, like they just twisted the whole thing. If you really like read the tweet and then like see how everybody else twisted and turned the whole narrative, they didn't say the game sucked. They said I have zero motivation. They said I. And then everybody was like, yeah, this is trash. Yeah, they said they're looking forward to happy chaos, and no one read that. No one read that part. That's the part. That's the best part, Tech. No one read that part. Let's rock. Everyone only seen zero motivation equals trash. Crazy. But I just think like, yeah, that's high level sheep mentality. To be honest with you, it's just so bad. You know, people are just literally jumping in and then like insert like what I've been seeing a lot, honestly, and it's so toxic. It's just people just inserting themselves after something like that and just like piggybacking on it. Every time I look at somebody talking about the tweet that they made, it has nothing to do with what they said. Literally has nothing to do with what they said. Like no one's ever saying, yo, I respect that they actually, you know, was open about it. Like it's okay. But then everybody's just like, yo, this shit trash. Strive is dead. Honeymoon phase is over. Like honestly, like when I seen that, I asked them, right? I was like, can you elaborate a little bit about it, right? They said, I don't know, it just feels strict. I said, is it due to the RC system? Because if I'm near what you're feeling, let me know, like, because I understand. And the reason why I said I understand is because I played the older game, so I understand what you mean about like everything's around RC, right? So I have more of a biased standpoint of what strict is, right? Oh, Majin clap back. Uh-oh, here we go. You don't get it? Okay. So to give you the context, so Majid Obama was one of the few people that was saying a lot about the game, and everybody gave this person shit for it. People saying, yo, you just whack, you a boomer. Somebody said something that he was complaining about the most. Right here, SQ, strong Ramathon player. She said, honestly, I wish there was more defensively, right? Feels like there's little room to finesse someone on defense when it comes down to big reads instead. I do agree with that. That is a problem that I talked about. That also was going to be a big issue later on in the game. So, Majid Obama said something that everybody told him. They said, shut up, boomer. That's what they told Majid Obama, right? And then Hook was like, you're right, Obama. And then Left was like, oh no, you gave him that power. Basically, he gave him the stone to do this. He gave him the time stone. Where did that lead to? Back to me. Damn, bro. I think people feel like they need validation from big players to not worry about enjoying the game. Meanwhile, we having the discussion. Exactly. I mean, I always try to have discussions in here. You know, I always tell people like it's okay to not like something that I like. You know, it's always cool. Most games reload only certain buttons are hit. Exactly. But then that's also going to be I'm afraid of too, because the game don't have a lot of like freedom of like button combinations. What if they tone the damage down and then like you only get damage from certain hits? Then is that going to be boring to watch? Because technically they're trying to make this game as spectator friendly as possible. And when I think of the term spectator friendly, I think of just hype. They just want this shit to be hype. They want upsets. Huh. Yeah, so let me ask you this, Roller Bones. I do agree with that. And I was talking about this too. And I said that it's really hard to make an execution character in like a newer game like now, right? Because they want to make it where everybody can play the character, right? It's really hard. I don't like that they can't bring that like type of feel back without making it like, how can I say it? Like, let's look at Normaya from Granblue. She was considered like technical, right? The problem is with that was like she was technical, but she did no damage. There was other characters better than her. Her normals were really that great. All she could do was like hit confirm, and like one of the stands like left her very volatile. And you just think to yourself like, why have all these issues with a character that's hard to use and an easy to play game? And you ask your question like, is it worth playing it? And that's always the question that you hear when newer characters come out in a newer game. Is it worth playing? I feel like Zato's supposed to fill that hole, but the combo pressure is horizontal and flexibility in those areas. RC has become a V-trigger cancel instead of flexible options. Yeah. So yeah, Roll the Bones. I kind of agree with that. With the you're not flexible, and I think the reason why you don't feel flexible as Zato is because Eddie dies so fast. You don't get time to do things. But that's because they say they don't want you to block for a long time. So, you know. So I just think like those are the things that make when you make games more simpler like that, that's what happens, right? And it's fine, but you gotta have like a middle ground, developers or whoever's directing the game, directors of the game. The problem is that Cairo and GG isn't done better in Strive. He doesn't have that mid-range zoner identity like he used to have. Exactly. He doesn't. He became more strike throw because if you really look at the mid-range in this game, if you look at this mid-range game compared to the older games, they reduced the range. They reduced it quite a bit, if you notice. The reason why also the mid-range is more weaker too is not only because of the range, but it's because of the reward of what happens when you get close. When you get close, your game starts. It's easy to explain what happened. Oh, this person got thrown. He's opening him up with throw. That's very easy to understand. Oh, this person got counter hit. He got frame trapped. Oh, this person with the throw, he got red. It's very easy to just say those three things. It's very simple. It's very easy to understand. It's very easy to talk about. It's very easy to criticize what happened there. But when you start talking about things like just defend, IB throw, all this other stuff, like, then it gets more confusing because now the person don't understand what's happening. So that's why they take those things away. Which I don't agree that's the good thing to do. It should be talked about what's happening. Tension gain is BS. If you try to mid-range as Kai and poke, you get no meter and you have to choose between RTL, BRC, yellow RC, and you just play rushdown, you get meter for days and do everything. Yeah. I do think the meter building for a lot of the archetypes are a bit one-sided. If you really think about it, I don't think Faust built a lot of meter either. I don't think meter game should be as high as it is, to be honest with you. I think certain characters need meter tuning, and that's it. Do I think the stuff that we have is good? Yeah, I think so. I like the RC system. I like how the routes that you can get, I like that a lot. Like, I like how you can convert in this game. I do like how FD just defend is in the game. I just wish that I could use it. You know? I wish I could use it more. A lot of mechanics that are in the game that is really sick, it's hard to use. So you don't get to see it often. And my thing is like, you know, I do agree with like Aliun, for example. Aliun said there's a lack of finesse in the game. There's not a lot of finesse options, unfortunately. In what way? In what way of what? The lack of finesse? So, defensively, how do you get out of situations? You jump. When somebody's like hitting you with like close slash button, what do? You backdash, you jump, or you mash. All those options are not finesse. Yeah, jump, yellow RC, burst, backdash, yes. Not a lot of finesse options. Can you give an example? Oh, hold up. Let me look it up. Kai versus Johnny. This matchup is hard for Kai. Johnny has a lot of tools to negate a lot of what Kai wants to do. Because of Kai lack of damage. That is a very average thing that he has also in Strive. But there are a lot of unique things in this game that you can use that actually fixes that problem. Which Arcs has said that they don't want in these games. Don't know why, but they said that they don't want that in the game. They don't want characters that have weaknesses to have abilities to cover those weaknesses. I don't know why they want it that way, but that's what they want. It's their game. I'm not going to complain about it. Right here. This is a good. So this is him FDing, and Hamad as a player recognizing this is FDing. So FD adds 2 frames of block stun, right? So the way you could recognize a person's FDing is you're doing like a block string, and you're assessing the situation, right? And he understands that, and he's like, because I know he's FDing, I'm gonna do a delay move, and it's gonna catch you. This is what happened. Counter hit, right? Combo route, boom, air combo. When you get a counter hit set up, that is the same damage as Strive, right? This is the same damage as Strive right here. This is a lot of damage from that. But did you see how he had to get that damage though? Versus SH. You get what I'm saying? Versus a lot of characters. So that's the complaint that you see from a lot of people. That's the complaint that you're starting to see. Not justifying it, but just saying like that was a finesse thing that he did. So he did a sweep right here, and he jump canceled it. He whiffed P to fake out an attack. That's a faking out attack. He got red because he RC. He got air throw. That was finesse right here. Look at that. To call out the backdash right here because he was plus right here. That's +4 on block. But look how fast this move was. Right? It's very hard to like mash between that, right? +4. He called the backdash. He ran up 6P. Right? That was a unique interaction. That was finesse. See, look right there. Finesse right here. Look at this. He jumped, instant blocked. He jumped, instant blocked. And after the instant block, air throw. That's finesse. Like when people talk about like defensive stuff and like finesse, this is what it looks like. But this is actually like 5 years into the game. So honestly, like this situation right here is a lot of like what you have to kind of do in a lot of matchups in like Strive, which what Aliun said. This is why I agree with Aliun. I was like, man, it definitely feels like everything, it has to be like big plays, big reads all the time, right? And for some matchups, that's fun. I think that is fun. But when you put it against the whole cast, it definitely makes it like not enjoyable long term. So you know what's crazy? A lot of people think I'm crazy when I say this, but when you make options good, you actually have a better chance of hitting the opponent. I don't think the developers know that if you allow people to have these options, you have a higher chance of landing these options towards them, if that makes sense. So I just want to show you guys, these are like the things that people talk about. Because a lot of people don't understand. So I'm just explaining it to you. Do I want all of this back in the game? No, I don't. I want Strive to be its new shit. I want it to be something new. But don't be afraid to add these little like fun mini games. Like don't be afraid to make these fun mini games fun. Of course, don't make it ham. I don't want it ham, but just make it where it's where you can see, you can have these like type of things in the game. This is what makes fighting games so great. Can we please both competitive players and spectators simultaneously? Yes, I think so. I think it's possible. I think Rev 2 was a perfect balance, in my opinion. I thought XR was a very spectator-friendly game. But you know why no one knew about Rev 2? Because Dragon Ball didn't exist yet. But if you notice, everyone has started appreciating Rev 2 after Dragon Ball. After Season 1 of Dragon Ball, people were like, yo, I want to play more Arceus games.